Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Emily. I post a ton of bookish content. For today's video, we are going to be doing a January wrap-up and February TBR. Yes, I am very late to this, and I will admit I will most likely not read all of these books, but they are on my TBR and they have been since mid-January, so I'm really hoping to get to them. I am recording this video on the 13th of February just to put it into perspective how late into the month we already are. However, I love making these videos, so I just wanted to make it anyway, and I know that March's will be up on time and actually like more accurate perhaps, but nonetheless, we're going to talk about all the books that I read in January and all of the ones that I'm really hoping I can read in February. I have already started reading some of them, so we're on the right track. I started trying this healthy drink alternative called Bloom, and so if I am drinking a blue drink during this, that's why. It's blue lavender, and honestly, I was a little worried, but it is delicious. So if you see me sipping on this, that's what it is. Okay, so I read 4 books in January, and throughout January I did start a new job. If you haven't watched my recent video, you will know that I started a new job and I ended that job in the same 2-week period. So I was really busy for 2 weeks out of January and I didn't really have a lot of time to read. But that being said, I was still able to read 4 books. So first one I actually do not have with me. I read it as an audiobook, and that is Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. I absolutely love this book. Gave it a 5 out of 5. I really enjoyed learning just like about her life. She talks, you know, as you can see from the actual title, it crosses out things. So she does talk about parties and friendship and like work and just her entire life basically throughout this, but ultimately she just talks about love, whether it's romantic or platonic, how she dealt with it growing up, and how she was able to like gain opportunities and gain friendships and lose opportunities because of how she dealt with things. And I just thought it was really insightful and really down to earth and really honest of her to write about. Not to mention she is an excellent writer, so I just really genuinely enjoyed it. It was funny, it was meaningful, it was the whole package. The next book that I read in January was The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and if you follow me on Instagram, which you definitely should, it's always linked down below, you would already know that I love this book, and I gave it a 5 out of 5 too. January was a pretty good month, honestly, for books, so if you are not aware of what this is about, I'm sure everyone and their mother knows at this point, but if you do not know, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo follows this writer and interviewer named Monique, who interviews this famous actress named Evelyn Hugo, and she basically interviews her about not only her career, but her love life, and it goes through all 7 of her husbands that she has had throughout her life, what they have taught her, who her real love was. There was really great representation in this book. I have always been a fan of Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing style, and I just thought that this was structured perfectly. Like, I don't really know how else to describe it. It was beautiful, meaningful, funny, sexy. It had so many different things. Like, it's not a romance, but you could definitely consider this to be a romance because there is a lot of love talk in here, and it's really cool because on the back it even says, as Evelyn's story nears its conclusion, it becomes clear that her life intersects with Monique's own in a tragic and irreversible way. And it's really interesting when you get to that point and you find out how their lives actually coincide and how they're connected. And yeah, I just really love the character development, the plot development. It was excellent. So good. Please read this if you have not already. I sat on it for way too long and I regret it. So yeah, love this. I love it so much. The next book I actually don't have anymore either. I book loaned it from my work, but it was January's book club pick for Lost in the Plot, and that was One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. This was my only not so great book of the month. I gave it a 3 out of 5. 3.5 out of 5. It was good, but honestly I only really enjoyed the wittiness, like the funniness of the story and the found family aspect. I wasn't really the chemistry wasn't there with the two characters. If you don't know what it's about, it basically follows this girl named August in New York City. She goes on a subway, sees a hot girl, and then every time she goes on the subway, she sees the same girl. And she realizes that this girl named Jane is actually stuck on the train and stuck in like a time travel thing. I don't even really know how to describe it, but she's from the 70s and she's stuck on this train. Something happened to her in the 70s and they're just trying to get her back, or at least get her off of the train. So it's really cool. Like the found family that August has found helps her doing that, and I just enjoyed that part a little bit more than the actual romance itself. So most of the people in the book club actually agreed it was good, not great. So I gave it a 3 out of 5, and that's all I have to say. And we ended January off with a bang. I will admit, I finished this closer to the beginning of February, but I'm including it for the wrap-up of January, and that is Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. Another one that I sat on for way too long, and it was incredible. Like, my jaw actually dropped at the end of this book. So this is a domestic thriller in general, and it follows a married couple named Adam and Amelia. Adam has face blindness, and Amelia is just so sick, literally and figuratively, of being unseen by her husband. So they go to this getaway at a Airbnb that is a chapel remade into like a nice home in Scotland, and they go for their anniversary to just try and like mend their relationship and make things work again. But the getaway that they won was not random, and someone wanted them there at this exact weekend. So it's interesting. I don't want to spoil anything for you guys, but you're kind of just like going through trying to figure out who has them at this Airbnb right now and why do they want them there. And I didn't really know anything up until like the last 3/4 of the book. Like, it was really hard to predict what was going on, which I think is really good in thriller books. And both Adam and Amelia have secrets. This has multiple point of views in it, so it made it really interesting. And on top of that, each anniversary year, you know, the different gifts that you do, paper, wood, cotton, iron, like all of the different anniversary gifts that you're supposed to do each year, there is a chapter for each of those leading up to their 10-year anniversary. And the wife is the one writing these letters, and she never lets her husband read them until the very end. And oh, it was so good. Like I said, I read the part where it finally made sense to me, and I was just like, oh, like, it was really, really good. So I highly recommend you pick this up. It takes place in February, so if you already have it on your shelf, I think that this month would be the perfect time to read it. Alright, those were all the books that I read in January, and as you can see, I had 3 5-star reads, so I really cannot complain. Actually, not 3 5 stars, because Everything I Know About Love, I didn't really rate it because I don't like to rate my memoirs. I don't think it's fair to like judge memoirs really, because it's someone's life. But if I had to say, Everything I Know About Love was really, really good. Like 5-star-ish. So moving on, we're going to talk about all of the books that I want to or have already started reading in February. So the only book that I have started reading in February is Lost in the Plot's book club pick for February, which is Hopeless by Colleen Hoover. This follows a girl in high school named Sky. She is homeschooled, and then for her senior year she decides she wants to go to public school, and she's kind of known as like a tramp because she has guys meet her at her house in the middle of the night to make out, you know, as high schoolers do. And so when she goes into her senior year, people already have this like misconception of who she is, but she just doesn't really care about any of that. She is there to get her extracurriculars, get in, get out, graduate, go to university. But she actually ends up meeting this guy named Dean Holder, and at the end of the synopsis it does say, only by courageously facing the stark revelations can Sky and Holder hope to heal their emotional scars and find a way to live in love without boundaries. Hopeless is a novel that will leave you breathless, entranced, and remembering your own first love. So I thought it was really perfect for February and for the book club pick, because not everyone, but a lot of people in the book club enjoy Colleen Hoover, so I am looking forward to seeing how this book goes. I've heard really good things, and so far it's been pretty good. Alright, I have 4 more here that I want to show. Realistically, I will not be reading all of these, so do not, you know, take my word for it, but I want to try. So the next one is Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute by Talia Hibbert. This is her one, and I believe only, YA romance that she has ever written. So this follows Bradley and Celine, and they used to be really close friends, and then in high school he kind of got in with the popular crowd and stopped talking to her as much. But they both sign up for a 2-part survival course in the woods, and they don't know that they're both doing it. So they end up having to work together for a chance to win a grand prize, and they have to kind of go through their messy past together, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna fall in love again or something like that. So it just sounds really, really cute and something that would be an easy read. So I'm really hoping I do. And also, we love the representation. We have a thick queen here, both black. It's amazing. Next up, we have another YA romance, and this one is definitely a little bit different, but if you know me, you know I love Alice Oseman, so I picked up Loveless by Alice Oseman. This cover is absolutely gorgeous. I love this Indigo exclusive. There is the back. And this one is basically about a girl in high school named Georgia who doesn't understand why she can't crush and kiss and make out like her friends. Everyone seems to say that dating and sex equals love, but it's not until she gets to university that she comes to understand herself as asexual. And so everyone knows Alice Oseman for Heartstopper, and I just have a feeling this is going to give a lot of really great life lessons for the younger crowd, but also even for me as like a 25-year-old. I just feel like I learn a lot from her books, so I'm really looking forward to this one. So another one that I should have read a long ass time ago is The Love Hypothesis. This one and The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, like, I honestly don't know why it took me so long to read The Seven Husbands, and now this will be read in the first half of 2023. Guarantee it. If it's not this month, it's gonna be soon, because I just need to know what the hype is about. And I also have the arc for Love on the Brain, but I just feel like I need to read this first for some reason. So I think everyone knows what this is about, but it follows a third-year PhD candidate, Olive, and she's trying to convince her friend or a guy or something that she's dating, and she's well on her way to finding her happily ever after. She ends up just like randomly panicking and kissing the first guy she sees, and that man is none other than Adam Carlson, a young hotshot professor. So because she's a PhD student and he's a professor, like, their ages aren't that different. So I know it's not going to be a super weird age gap, but I've heard it's pretty spicy, and I don't really know anything else other than that, but I kind of want to go into it blind. So yeah, looking forward to it. It's just weird because I was so excited for this when I first got it, and now I'm just like, I have to read it. I don't really want to read it. It's weird. So we'll see how I feel. All right, we are on the last one, and this is definitely one that I want to read. This literally just came out like a few weeks ago. This is X's and O's by Amy Lee, and if you know me, you know I really enjoyed Set on You by her. That was involving Crystal and Scott, I believe his name was, and she was like a curvy weightlifting influencer. And then this is now her sister Tara, who is a romance book social influencer. So meta, am I right? Because obviously I'm not just romance, but like I do a lot of social media with regards to books in general, so that part is really exciting. And she decides to have her roommate Trevor help her go through her list of exes and figure out if any of them could potentially be the right one, because she's really struggling to find love in her own life. And little does she know, you know, he might be right under her nose. Good old Trevor. So that's kind of all I know about it. Again, I don't want to go into it knowing too much, so I'm really excited to read this. I think that this one is probably going to be my next read after Hopeless, because I'm just so excited about it. Alright, so those were all of the books that I read in January, and these are all of the books that I am hoping to read in February. February is like halfway done, so I will definitely not be reading all of these, but I'm hopeful. So that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment any recommendations you have down below, and I post every single Friday, so I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!